The rain hit the windshield like it was trying to drown the world. I could barely see the road ahead, but I didn't care. My phone was dead. My marriage was dead. And I wasn't even sure if I was still breathing. You ever get kicked out of your own house by your wife while she's wearing the robe you bought her? Yeah, that happened. Just 4 hours ago. She stood there, arms crossed, face blank like I was some delivery guy who brought her the wrong pizza. "You're a loser, Matt," she said, cool and easy, like she'd rehearsed it a dozen times. "Your own grandfather didn't think you deserved anything more than a shack in the middle of nowhere. So go live in your shack. I'm done." I looked at her, waiting for the punchline. There was none. I wasn't even mad at first. I was confused. Like someone just pulled the floor from under me, but told me to keep walking. The apartment she was referring to, the one in the capital, had gone to my younger brother, Tyler. He barely even knew Grandpa. I was the one who visited every summer. Painted that old fence. Repaired the steps. Mowed the damn grass. But all I got was a rotten skeleton of a house in some forgotten village. Still, I packed up. I didn't fight her. Maybe that was my first mistake. The drive out to the village felt like a funeral march, and the house, well, let's just say, half ruined, was generous. The front door creaked like it hadn't been opened in a decade. The windows were smudged, the roof dipped in the middle like it had given up trying. I half expected to see raccoons playing poker in the living room. But when I stepped inside, everything changed. I froze. Right there, in the middle of the ruined space, was a thick, dust-covered tarp. And under it, I swear to God, I could see the outline of something big. Metallic. Not furniture. Not farming tools. Something buried. But before I could touch it, something buzzed in my pocket. A backup phone I hadn't used in months. I dug it out. 10 missed calls. All from Brian. Brian, my best friend since college. The kind of guy who'd never call unless it was something serious. Or something shady. I called him back. No hello, just a nervous breath. "Matt, listen. You need to know something." I stepped back from the tarp, heart beating faster than it had all day. "She's sleeping with Tyler," Brian said. "I didn't want to tell you unless I was sure. But I saw them. Together. At your place. Yesterday." I laughed. Actually laughed. Because what else do you do when your wife kicks you out for inheriting the wrong house and then hooks up with your brother before the dust from your shoes has even settled? "You sure?" I asked. My voice cracked like a kid's. I saw her climb into his car, Matt. At night. Wearing nothing but one of his shirts. They didn't see me. I was coming back from work. I was going to call you then, but I didn't know how. I hung up. Then I stood there. And stood there. Until the rain started seeping in through the holes in the roof, dotting the wooden floor like tears I refused to shed. This wasn't just betrayal. This was calculated. Premeditated. And suddenly, this ruined house. It wasn't a curse. It was freedom. But first, I had to find out exactly how deep the rot went. Because if my brother was in bed with my wife, what else were they sharing? Tomorrow, I'd drive back to the city. But tonight, I was going to dig up whatever my grandfather left me under that tarp. Because something told me he knew this day would come. And he didn't leave me that house by accident. I didn't sleep that night. I sat on the warped wooden floor, the cold seeping through my jeans as I stared at the tarp. My hands trembled, not from fear, but anticipation. Like something in my bones knew my life was about to split in two. Again, by the time the sun bled through the clouds, I'd made my decision. I yanked the tarp. Underneath was a massive, iron-framed chest. Ancient, locked, but intact. Not the kind of thing you'd find in your average backyard shed. It had ornate carvings along the sides, symbols I didn't recognize. Something about it felt sacred. Hidden. Deliberate. I didn't have the tools to break it open, and I wasn't about to smash it without knowing what was inside. So I covered it back up and left it for later. For now, I had unfinished business back in the city. By noon, I was back in the apartment building. The same one that used to feel like home, now reeking of betrayal. I walked up the stairs because I needed to feel every step, to remember what I was walking toward. And when I got to my floor, I didn't knock. I had a key. The door creaked open. Silence. The apartment looked the same. Too clean. Too still. And then I heard them. Whispers from the bedroom. A woman's laugh. A man's voice. Casual. Too casual. I walked in like a ghost. The bedroom door was open just enough. I saw shadows on the wall. The bed creaking. Her voice again. "Oh my God, stop," she giggled. "What if he comes back?" Then Tyler. Relax. He's probably halfway through fixing that shack. You think he even knows how to use a hammer? I pushed the door open. They froze. She was straddling him, his shirt barely covering her. Her lipstick smeared across his neck. Her hair, the same hair I used to tuck behind her ear when she cried, was tangled in his hands. And she didn't even look ashamed. She rolled off him slowly, pulling the blanket around her like she was annoyed I'd interrupted. "Oh," she said, bored. "Guess you found out." Tyler sat up, red-faced, mouth opening and closing like a damn fish. I just stared at both of them. "You got anything to say?" I asked. Ashley, my wife, shrugged. "Look, Matt, you're not exactly a prize. You think I wanted to be a farmer's wife? Live in some dump while you find yourself in the woods? Please." Tyler stood up, trying to pull on his pants without looking me in the eye. "I didn't mean for this to happen," he muttered. "No," I said, "but you still did it." Ashley scoffed. "Spare us the drama. You were already halfway out the door. Don't act like this wasn't inevitable." That word hit me harder than a fist. Inevitable. Like I was some obstacle they were always going to push past. I didn't yell. Didn't throw anything. That's what she wanted. A scene. An excuse to call me unstable. No. I walked to the dresser. Opened the drawer. Took out the last thing I ever gave a damn about. An old photo of my parents on their wedding day. The one I kept because I believed love could be real, even now. I tucked it under my arm. And left. The whole ride back to the village, I didn't play music. I didn't cry. I didn't think. Just silence. Until I pulled back up to the house and stared at it with new eyes. That chest. That house. That betrayal. It was all connected. Grandpa didn't give me this place out of pity. He gave it to me because he knew I'd need a place far away from lies, from manipulation, from people like her. But more than that, I had a feeling whatever was in that chest might be the beginning of something bigger. The past 24 hours had broken me. Now it was time to rebuild. The next morning, I drove to the nearest hardware store, picked up a bolt cutter, and returned to the house without saying a word to anyone. My hands were steady now. No more shaking. No more second-guessing. I wasn't the same man who got kicked out of his own apartment like a stray dog. That version of me died somewhere on the road between betrayal and clarity. I brought the chest into the center of the living room, what was left of it, and snapped the lock with a loud, final crack. The lid creaked open, and for a moment, I just stared. Inside were stacks of documents, envelopes, a heavy-looking leather-bound notebook, and, at the very bottom, a sealed metal box with my name on it. Not to my grandson. Not to Matt. Just Matt, in all capital letters, burned into the metal like a brand. I opened the notebook first. The pages were aged and yellowed, filled with my grandfather's handwriting. He'd written everything, letters, thoughts, even warnings. There were sketches of the house, references to hidden compartments, financial ledgers, even photocopies of old property deeds. Apparently, this place was sitting on land worth more than I could have imagined. He'd kept it quiet for a reason. In one of the letters, he wrote, "You're going to lose something before you realize what you truly have, Matt. The world will take what's weak, but it will never break what's real. You'll find your strength when everything fake burns away. This house, it's your clean slate." I opened the box with my name next. There was a small black key inside, a USB drive, and a handwritten note. "Use this only when you're ready to start over completely." I didn't know what it meant yet, but I knew I wasn't going to waste it. That night, I set up a mattress in the corner of the room, lit a few candles since the electricity still wasn't working, and opened my laptop. The USB drive was encrypted, but I bypassed it. Years of IT work hadn't gone to waste after all. What loaded onto the screen left me breathless. Blueprints, legal files, business plans, bank statements, offshore accounts in my grandfather's name. There was an entire trust fund set aside in a shell company, meant to activate only when the house was inherited. I was the sole beneficiary. Millions. Not thousands, millions. And just like that, everything made sense. He knew. Somehow, Grandpa knew Ashley wasn't who she pretended to be. That Tyler was always lurking in my shadow, waiting for a chance to pull the rug out from under me. That one day, I need a weapon. Not a gun. Not revenge. Power. That's what this was. I sat back, eyes burning, heart calm. The betrayal didn't hurt as much now. It didn't feel like an end anymore. It felt like the start of war. The next morning, I called a lawyer. By noon, I had a full team, tax advisor, accountant, real estate broker. I wasn't wasting a second. The land this house sat on was being rezoned. Developers were already sniffing around, but they had no idea what was coming. Ashley texted me later that day. Ashley, you seriously just left like that? What are you even doing out there? I didn't respond. Ashley, I hope you enjoy playing farmer. Don't come crawling back when that dump collapses. Still, I didn't respond. But I took a screenshot. Because I knew one day she'd want to pretend she hadn't said those words. I went outside, looked at the chipped white paint on the siding, and saw it for what it was, a mask. This wasn't a ruined house. It was my fortress now. And soon, everyone who laughed at me would watch it rise, piece by piece. From the dirt she threw me in. From the ashes they thought I'd choke on. I wasn't going to fix this house for memories. I was going to turn it into the place that made them regret everything. A week passed. I didn't tell anyone where I was. Let them wonder. Let Ashley stew in her own pride, thinking she'd won. Let Tyler play pretend, basking in her fake affection like a fool. I wasn't interested in their drama anymore. I was building something bigger, something untouchable. The contractors I hired were fast. I paid in full, up front. No negotiations. Money talks, especially in places like this. By day 3, the roof was new. By day 5, we had working electricity, new windows, and a functioning security system. I wasn't just renovating. I was transforming this place into a fortress with a heartbeat. Inside, I made sure to preserve certain pieces. Grandpa's old desk. A framed photo of him shaking hands with someone I later learned was a prominent landowner. He wasn't just some quiet old man in a flannel shirt. He was calculating, strategic, and clearly, he saw something in me I hadn't yet seen in myself. That Friday, I got a call. Private number. I picked up and didn't speak first. Ashley's voice came through, strained and cold. So, I heard. Good for you. I don't know what you're playing at, Matt. This little game of revenge. Fine. You win. You always want to be the better person, right? Go ahead. Be better. She sounded bitter. Like she hadn't expected me to disappear, to move on without throwing a tantrum, without begging. Not a game, I said calmly. Just life moving forward. Without dead weight. There was silence. Then the venom slipped through her voice. You'll never survive without me. I smiled. Already am. I hung up. But that wasn't the part that stuck with me. It was what happened that evening. A car pulled up to the front gate. A sleek black BMW. I recognized it immediately, Tyler's. He didn't get out right away. Just sat there like he wasn't sure if he should knock or drive away. I stood on the porch and waited. Finally, he stepped out. No confidence. No arrogance. Just guilt written all over his face. Matt, he said, can we talk? I didn't move. Talk. Before or after you screwed my wife. His face flinched like I'd punched him. Look, I know I messed up. I didn't mean for it to happen. She came on to me. She said you were pulling away. That you were obsessed with your job, with your family drama, with everything but her. She's good at lying. You're good at believing her. Match made in hell. I didn't come here to fight. I want to fix this. I'll give up the apartment. I'll tell Mom and Dad the truth. I'll do whatever it takes. Why now? I asked. He hesitated. Because she dumped me yesterday, he finally admitted. Said I wasn't ambitious enough. Said I was fun until I wasn't. She went on a date with some guy from her gym the same night. I laughed. Not because it was funny. Because it was perfect. Guess you got what you deserved. I didn't want to be you, man, he said. I just didn't want to be invisible anymore. You could have asked me for help. He looked down. I didn't think you'd give it. I walked down the steps and stood right in front of him. I would have. Before. Not anymore. He nodded. I get it. You don't. But you will. I turned around and walked back inside. He didn't follow. That night, I opened the last sealed envelope from the chest. It was a deed. To a second plot of land. Not far from the first. With a note. Only give this to someone who proves they've changed. I tucked it away. Not for Tyler. For someone else. Someday. Because I wasn't just rebuilding my life. I was becoming a gatekeeper to something bigger. And I had no space left for traitors. 2 more weeks passed. The house, if you could even still call it that, was now something else entirely. A modern farmhouse on the outside, a fortress of solitude on the inside. Hardwood floors. Custom glass panels in the living room that looked out over the wild hills. The basement was reinforced and converted into an office, secured, insulated, private. I didn't just fix up what was broken. I upgraded everything. The transformation made the entire betrayal feel distant. like it happened to someone else. And in a way, it did. I wasn't that man anymore. Still, that didn't mean I wasn't going to finish what Ashley and Tyler started. I wasn't after revenge. Not directly. I didn't want to hurt them. I wanted to erase them. I wanted to make sure that whatever future they imagined for themselves, especially one that had anything to do with me, was gone. And I had all the tools to do it now. I reached out to the family lawyer, Michael, old friend of my grandfather's. He had no love for Ashley. "You finally opened the chest," he said with a chuckle. "Old man said you'd wait until you had no choice." Looks like he was right. He was always 10 steps ahead, I said. Michael helped me set up a foundation in my grandfather's name, using the assets in the offshore accounts. We funneled everything through clean channels. I bought back a block of properties that had once belonged to my grandfather's family, land Tyler didn't even know existed. And then I turned them into something profitable. Meanwhile, I made sure Ashley's name was erased from everything. Her name had been added to some financials back when we were still happy. I reversed it all. Legally. Quietly. Ruthlessly. I didn't tell her. I wanted her to find out like I had, by accident. Cruel? Maybe. But it wasn't even a fraction of what she deserved. Then the message came. Not a text this time. A video. Sent to my email from an anonymous account. But I knew the voice immediately. Ashley. She was crying. Not real tears, the kind she turned on for sympathy. It was filmed in a hotel room, by the looks of it. Cheap. Desperate. "Matt," she said. "I know you probably hate me. I get it. I deserve it. But I can't stop thinking about you. You were the only person who ever actually believed in me. You never hit me. You never screamed at me. You never." She paused, composed herself. "Look, Tyler's a mess. He's drinking. He keeps bringing up how he ruined everything. We fought. He smashed a mirror. I left. I'm staying in some motel right now, and I just want to talk. That's all. Just talk." I stared at the screen, unmoved. Then I hit delete. No response. She tried again 2 days later. Same tone. Same fake regret. I didn't even watch the whole thing. Just saved it. I wanted a collection. Proof of how quickly a person like her folds when the lies stop working. Then the final message came. This time, no apology. No tears. Just venom. "You think you're better than everyone now?" she hissed. "Just because you got lucky with some inheritance? You're still that loser who needed his grandfather to bail him out. Don't act like you built this." And there it was. The truth behind her mask. She never loved me. She loved control. And once she lost that, all that was left was rage. I closed my laptop and walked outside. The air was crisp, the wind sharp. The village, quiet as always, had grown familiar. Even comforting. Down the road, some kids were playing near the pond. One of the local farmers waved at me. I waved back. This place, this life, was mine now. Built not with her, not for her, but after her. Ashley thought she'd broken me. She didn't realize she was just chiseling away everything fake. And what's left? That's something no one gets to own but me. A month after I moved in, the mayor of the village dropped by. Not for politics, he didn't care about that. He was curious. Word had gotten around fast. That the old house had a new owner. That the ghost of Matthew Reed, the loser city boy who got dumped, was now building something none of them had seen in decades. He knocked once. No hesitation, then let himself in when I called from inside. "You've done good here," he said, eyes scanning the walls, the floor, the restored beams overhead. "Better than most." "Appreciate that," I said, offering him coffee. "Didn't plan on any of this, you know." "No one plans a storm," he said. "But you build stronger roofs after the first one hits." He stayed for a half hour. Told me about the area, the future rezoning, the offers coming in from outside developers. I already knew most of it from the files Grandpa left. But it was different hearing it from a man who'd been living here his whole life. Then he dropped the real reason he'd come. "Some folks back in the capital, your brother included, are asking questions," he said, watching my reaction. "Let them ask." He leaned forward. "He thinks you're hiding something." He even tried to request land records from the regional office. Got denied. I smiled. "Good. You planning to retaliate?" "No," I said. "I'm planning to grow." He grinned. "Then we'll get along just fine." After he left, I stepped outside and sat on the newly built porch. It was strange how silence had become my favorite sound. No more screaming. No more accusations. No more icy stares or slammed doors. Just air. And thoughts. And the occasional bark of a neighbor's dog. Ashley hadn't contacted me again. Tyler tried once more. Sent me a handwritten letter, of all things, probably trying to appeal to some sense of family. He wrote, "I was stupid. I was jealous. I don't know who I am without chasing what you have." I didn't even finish reading. I folded the paper and burned it in the fireplace. Because if he needed to ask who he wasn't ready to become anyone better. One evening, I took a walk behind the house, past the rusted fence and the old tool shed Grandpa used to keep locked. The key he left on the chain, the one inside the box with my name, fit perfectly. Inside were crates of old files, records, ledgers. Yes, but also something more personal. Letters. Letters he'd written to Grandma after she passed. Dozens of them. He'd written her once a week for 3 years after her funeral, telling her how the world was changing, how the kids had grown up, how his body ached more, but he still fixed the roof, still made tea for 2 in the mornings out of habit. And then there was one letter, unsealed, dated a week before he died. Addressed to me. "Matthew, you're going to feel like the world turned its back on you. Let it. That's how you learn who's actually standing beside you. Ashley never loved you. I saw it years ago, but I didn't say anything because I wanted you to see it yourself. You wouldn't have believed me back then. This house isn't just wood and dirt. It's mine. And now it's yours. To make something new. Something better. For someone who will love you. One day, the way you deserve. Build it strong." I sat there in the shed for hours. Not crying. Just breathing. Healing. Because for the first time in my life, I didn't feel like the discarded one. I felt chosen. I didn't expect what happened next. One morning, as I was checking the construction site for the new guest house I was building behind the main home, I saw a black SUV crawling up the dirt road. It wasn't local, too polished, too out of place. I watched from the porch as it parked, and when the door opened, my chest tightened for the first time in weeks. Ashley stepped out. Black blazer. Designer sunglasses. Hair tied back like she was walking into a courtroom or a battlefield. Same arrogant posture I used to misread as confidence. She scanned the house, the grounds, the workers in the distance. Then her eyes met mine. She smirked, like nothing had happened. "Wow," she said, walking toward the porch. "You really cleaned it up." I didn't say anything. I guess I underestimated you. She pulled off her sunglasses, folded them carefully, and tucked them into her bag like we were about to have a civilized chat. "Mind if I come in?" "Yes," I said flatly. "I do mind." She tilted her head. "You're really still that angry?" I laughed, short and sharp. "No, I'm not angry. I'm just not stupid anymore." She tried to push past me. I didn't move. "I heard about the land deals," she said, brushing imaginary dust off her sleeve. "The foundation. The offshore accounts. You played it smart." "No, I just stopped playing dumb." "Look," she said, switching gears like always. "I didn't come here to fight. I came to talk. Tyler's in rehab." I cut him off. He wasn't good for me. "You two deserve each other." "Maybe," she said, eyes softening. "But I miss you." I smiled. "No, Ashley. You miss access." That hit her. For a moment, the cracks showed. The perfectly applied mask slipped just a bit. "I made mistakes," she said. "But we had good moments. You can't pretend they didn't mean something." "I'm not pretending," I said. "They just don't mean what they used to. I see them clearly now. They were shadows of something I wanted to be real, not what actually was." She stepped closer. "So that's it. You're just going to throw away everything we had." "You did that," I said. "You threw it away the minute you climbed into his car." Silence. Then she pulled out a document. Folded. Thick paper. Legal seal. "I want my name back on the Capitol apartment," she said. "We signed a prenup, but my lawyer says." I didn't let her finish. I reached into my back pocket and pulled out my own document. A signed court order. Everything had already been transferred. Legally, cleanly, finally. Her name didn't exist anywhere near my assets anymore. "I'm not your safety net," I said. "And this land, this house, this life, it's not yours to touch." Her mouth opened, closed, opened again, but nothing came out. For once, she had no script. "I'm giving you one piece of advice," I said quietly. "Turn around. Leave. And never come back here again." She took a step back, like I'd physically pushed her. She looked around one last time, soaking it in, the house she laughed at, the man she discarded. Then she got in the SUV and left. No goodbye, no theatrics, just silence. I watched the dust rise behind her tires, then fade away into the trees. Later that evening, I walked through the halls of the house. The golden hour light hit the walls just right, casting everything in amber warmth. I passed the old chest in the living room, the fireplace, the shelves with Grandpa's books. And for the first time since that day she called me a loser, I exhaled. Not out of relief, but because I knew I was free. Weeks went by. The land bloomed with purpose. The guest house was completed. Locals started stopping by more often, some out of curiosity, others to ask about work or collaboration. I'd begun hosting small meetings in the main house with young people from the village who had ideas, plans, grit, but no guidance or backing. I gave them both, not because I wanted to be anyone's savior, but because I knew what it felt like to be dismissed, overlooked, undervalued. And I'd built something from the ashes of that pain, not to prove anyone wrong anymore, but to prove to myself I was never wrong to believe I could be more. One afternoon, I found myself sitting under the giant oak behind the house, the one Grandpa always called the spine of the land. I'd never understood it before, but now I saw it. That tree had survived storms, rot, lightning strikes. Its bark was gnarled and battered, but it was strong, unmoving, kind of like me now. My phone buzzed once. A message from an unknown number. I heard you made something incredible out there. I just wanted to say, I'm sorry for how I treated you. You didn't deserve it. You were always the better man. No name, but I knew it was Tyler. I didn't reply, because there was nothing left to say. I stood, walked back to the porch, and poured myself a cup of coffee. The same mug Grandpa used to drink from, his initials carved into the handle. I looked out across the land, the way the sunlight folded over the fields, the rooftops catching gold, the wind pushing through the tall grass like it remembered something sacred. And then I smiled, because I finally understood. This wasn't about revenge. It wasn't about proving Ashley wrong, or Tyler, or anyone who thought I'd crumble. It was about finding the version of myself that didn't need validation to feel whole. The version that could take a broken house, a broken heart, and a shattered name, and build a kingdom from it. If I could go back and say one thing to the man I was when I stepped into this house for the first time, lost and humiliated, it would be this. Let them laugh. Let them leave. Let them betray you. It's the clearing of the path, the pruning of the dead branches. The real you only shows up once the noise is gone. And now I'm here, quiet, rooted, alive, finally whole.